1. O núcleo da ilusão. A sociedade programou a classe média trabalhadora para acreditar que o sucesso financeiro só é real quando é performático. A mentira central é a de que o aumento de renda exige uma imediata atualização de status social, medida pelo código de barras das roupas, pelo logotipo no volante do carro financiado e pela constante reforma da casa nos subúrbios. Essa ilusão transforma altos salários em uma prisão luxuosa, onde o indivíduo paga voluntariamente um imposto de vaidade perpétuo para impressionar pessoas que não se importam. A verdadeira riqueza é silenciosa. Ela recusa a estética do luxo fabricado e foca exclusivamente na acumulação implacável de patrimônio invisível e na blindagem do próprio tempo. 2. A pergunta de retenção da parte 1. Qual é o imposto invisível que a classe média paga com orgulho e um sorriso no rosto, enquanto a verdadeira elite financeira o considera o veneno mais letal para a liberdade? 3. O mapa de dor. O que a parte 1 expõe? A armadilha visível. A dissecação da fachada do pobre premium. A análise dos primeiros itens da lista, revelando o contraste entre a ostentação estética, carros que depreciam e marcas de luxo barulhentas, e a fragilidade oculta de uma conta bancária que sangra a cada novo contra-cheque para manter a ilusão. O que a parte 2 aprofunda? A armadilha invisível, psicológica. A transição para os gastos de manutenção de vaidade. Exploraremos o dreno silencioso do lifestyle creep, a adaptação hedônica das melhorias residenciais intermináveis e a exaustão emocional de quem financia jantares excessivos e clubes exclusivos apenas para pertencer a uma roda de networking vazia. O que a parte 3 prova? A matemática brutal, o beco sem saída, o custo de oportunidade focado no tempo de vida e no capital. A matemática fonética, esmagando a crença de que esses gastos são recompensas merecidas. O cálculo exato de quantas horas de estresse corporativo e centenas de milhares de dólares em dividendos futuros foram brutalmente assassinados para sustentar a opinião de terceiros. O que a parte 4 resolve? A pílula vermelha, a saída da corrida dos ratos. A revelação do stealth wealth, riqueza silenciosa, e dos últimos itens cruciais da lista. O desapego total da aprovação pública. Como os verdadeiros ricos compram anonimato, flexibilidade e a paz absoluta de serem constantemente subestimados pelo sistema. 4. O gatilho de entrada. A cena claustrofóbica e estática de um semáforo vermelho às 8 horas da manhã. De um lado, um executivo de vendas, suando frio dentro de uma SUV europeia do ano, calculando mentalmente se o cartão de crédito tem limite para a viagem de fim de ano. Do outro, o acionista majoritário de um império logístico regional, tranquilo e invisível, ao volante de um sedã japonês com 8 anos de uso, ouvindo um podcast sem absolutamente nada a provar para o motorista ao lado. 5. Verificação de originalidade. Em vez de listar conselhos reciclados como corte os streamings e o café gourmet, este roteiro vai desconstruir a engenharia do status social como um produto altamente lucrativo vendido pelos bancos e corporações. Cada um dos 9 itens será tratado não como um erro de orçamento infantil, mas como uma falha de caráter explorada financeiramente pelo mercado, provando que tentar parecer rico é o contrato de escravidão mais eficiente da era moderna. 6. O mapa de capítulos. A palavra gatilho exclusiva será Phase A, distribuição exata dos marcadores. Phase 1, The Fabricated Necessity. Parte 2. Phase 2, The Vanity Tax. Parte 2. Phase 3, The Compound Slaughter. Parte 3. Phase 4, The Time Hemorrhage. Part A3. Phase 5, The Architecture of Invisibility, Part A4, Phase 6. The Ultimate Disconnect, Part A4. The visible traps are easy to spot. The shiny metal box in the driveway. The designer logo screaming across a t-shirt. But the real hemorrhage happens in the dark. It happens on your credit card statement, buried under a mountain of recurring charges that you justify as the baseline cost of being a successful adult. Society has convinced you that a rising income requires a rising standard of living. They call it lifestyle creep. I call it voluntary indentured servitude. You get the promotion, you get the raise, and instead of buying your freedom, you buy a heavier chain. You upgrade the kitchen counters because the home improvement shows, sponsored by the banks that hold your mortgage, told you that your current setup is for failures. You sign up for premium meal deliveries because you're too mentally pulverized by your director-level job to chop an onion. Exhaustion is the most profitable commodity in the modern economy. A tired population doesn't question the system. A tired population seeks immediate relief. And corporate America is standing right there, holding a payment terminal. You don't buy the $200 dinner because you actually like the overpriced steak. You buy it because swiping that heavy metal card gives you a fleeting 3-second illusion of control. You are paying a premium to numb the realization that your entire week belongs to a corporation. It's a localized anesthetic for the soul. The stealthy rich look at this behavior with clinical disgust. They understand a fundamental truth. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle to match your new salary, you reset the clock on your financial prison sentence. You are sprinting on the wheel, sweating out your vitality, just to afford a slightly more comfortable cage. Quietly wealthy people refuse to subsidize the illusion of belonging. They don't pay the country club initiation fee. They don't care about networking dinners filled with middle management clones trying to outflex each other. They see those environments for what they are, a vanity tax levied on the insecure. You think you're buying access to an elite circle. You aren't. You're just paying a cover charge to stand in a room full of other people who are secretly drowning in overdraft fees, all pretending they know how to swim. Maintaining this fake status requires constant capital injection. It demands that you care about the opinions of people you don't even respect. The architects of this machine don't just sell you a product, they sell you an identity that requires monthly payments to maintain. If you stop paying, you lose the identity. And to the fragile ego of the modern consumer, that is a fate worse than bankruptcy. Phase 1. The fabricated necessity. Let's dissect the subscription model of your self-esteem. 10 years ago, you bought things. Today, you rent your lifestyle. You lease the luxury sedan. You finance the phone. You own absolutely nothing. The stealthy rich refuse to play this game. They look at recurring lifestyle expenses as a virus. Every monthly subscription is a microscopic leak in the hull of your financial ship. It's the delivery app tax. It's the premium streaming service you watch for 40 minutes before passing out on the couch you financed at 19% interest. These microtransactions seem harmless. $14 here, $29 there. But they are engineered to bypass your logical defenses. The machine doesn't want to empty your bank account all at once. That would cause a panic. They prefer to bleed you out drop by drop while you smile and thank them for the convenience. Phase 2. The vanity tax. Let's stop talking about feelings and look at the cold, phonetic math. The trap is built on a mathematical illusion that banks pray you never calculate. You think that because you have high cash flow, you are building wealth. You aren't. You are just a high-volume pipe, and the corporate machine is siphoning the water before it ever hits your reservoir. Take a look at Marcus. 42 years old, regional director of logistics. He makes $180,000 a year. On paper, he is the American dream. But behind the closed doors of his oversized suburban home, he is suffocating. Marcus fell for the middle management trap. He believed that his new title required a new aesthetic, so he bought the house in the right zip code, financing an $80,000 premium just to have a prestigious address. Then came the country club membership because the financial advisors and his peers told him he needed to network. Marcus wakes up at 3 in the morning. The house is completely silent, but his mind is screaming. He lies there staring at the ceiling, doing the silent math of the damned. He calculates the mortgage, the property taxes, the credit card balance from the family vacation to Europe that was heavily documented online. He has exactly $400 of wiggle room this month. One unexpected medical bill, one transmission failure on the leased car, and his entire empire of cards collapses. This isn't success. This is a hostage situation. Let's isolate his vanity tax. Between the leased luxury SUV, the golf club dues, and the weekly $200 steak dinners he hates but attends to look successful, Marcus is burning $2,500 a month on pure, unadulterated status maintenance. He justifies it. He calls it the cost of doing business. Here is my absolute rule when it comes to the modern economy. I don't judge a man by what he buys. I judge him by the compound interest he willingly murders to buy it. Let's run the real numbers. That $2,500 isn't just an expense. It is an opportunity slaughter. If Marcus stopped trying to impress his broke colleagues and quietly redirected that money into a standard index fund, returning a boring 8% over 25 years, that vanity tax would compound into over $2.3 million. $2.3 million in pure liquid autonomy. Gone. Vaporized. He traded $2 million of generational freedom for the right to complain about his golf swing to a group of men who secretly hope he fails. Phase 3. The compound slaughter. The financial industry loves Marcus. They study him. They build algorithms to keep him exactly where he is. Because a man who needs to display his wealth is a man who will gladly accept terrible loan terms to maintain the facade. He is running inside the maze, entirely convinced he is the architect, completely blind to the fact that his every move is generating profit for the house. But the money isn't even the greatest tragedy. It is the time. Money is simply stored human energy. It is the physical representation of the hours you traded away. When you sign up for this aesthetic prison, you are bleeding out your finite time on Earth. You aren't just paying for the oversized house and the premium subscriptions. You are paying the interest on the debt used to acquire them. To cover that massive overhead, Marcus cannot lose his job. He is terrified. He answers emails at midnight on a Saturday. He swallows his pride when his boss disrespects him. He endures chronic, low-grade panic attacks disguised as ambition. He will have to work an extra 14 years to pay off the interest on a lifestyle that doesn't even bring him joy. That is 14 years of missing his daughter's piano recitals because he is stuck in an airport lounge, desperately trying to close a deal just to cover his monthly nut. He traded his actual life for the appearance of having a great one. He bought the cheese and the trap snapped shut so quietly he didn't even notice the steel bar pressing against his throat. The truly wealthy look at this dynamic and laugh. They realize that the ultimate flex isn't a loud engine or a tailored suit. The ultimate flex is waking up on a Tuesday morning and realizing that no one in the world has leverage over your schedule. But to get there, you have to be willing to do the one thing the middle class is absolutely terrified of doing. Phase 4. The time hemorrhage. They have to become completely comfortable with social irrelevance. The middle class is petrified of looking average. They would rather drown in an ocean of 12% interest loans than admit they cannot afford the VIP table. Quietly, wealthy people operate on an entirely different frequency. They don't just avoid bad purchases. They actively refuse to fund the vanity machine. They refuse to spend money on the illusion of access. You will never see a self-made, stealthy millionaire upgrading his smartphone every September just because the camera lens shifted 2 millimeters to the left. They look at the engineered obsolescence of consumer tech not as a necessity, but as a tax on the impatient. Here is the absolute law of financial physics. Visibility is a liability. The more people know about your capital, the more targets you place on your own back. The moment you start broadcasting your success, you invite the vultures. You attract the predatory relatives, the terrible investment pitches, and the creeping expectation that you must pick up the check every single time. True power is not when they notice your presence. True power is when they cannot afford your absence, yet they have absolutely no idea what you are worth. Phase 5. The architecture of invisibility. Let's break down the final items on the list. The things the elite categorically reject. They refuse to buy high-end luxury brands that feature massive, visible logos. Why? Because they refuse to pay a global corporation for the privilege of becoming a walking billboard. When you buy the belt with the giant gold buckle, you are paying for the brand's marketing department. When the quietly wealthy buy clothing, they buy structure, high-quality fabric, and absolute silence. They also refuse to spend money on financial speed runs. The middle class, desperate to escape the wheel, constantly falls for the trap of accelerated returns. They buy the speculative tokens. They pay for the $2,000 weekend seminars that promise to unlock real estate secrets. The invisible rich do not play this game. They understand that real wealth is aggressively boring. It is methodical. It is the slow, relentless compounding of index funds and cash-flowing assets. They embrace the boredom because they know that excitement in personal finance is usually just another word for losing your shirt. And perhaps most importantly, they refuse to buy temporary convenience that merely masks systemic exhaustion. The daily delivery apps, the overpriced wellness retreats that promise to heal the burnout caused by their own car payments. Instead, they buy the ultimate luxury. They buy distance. They buy a massive, unbreachable moat between their peace of mind and the chaos of the economic maze. While the rest of the pack is fighting over a tiny piece of cheese in the form of an annual corporate bonus, the stealth wealth architect is quietly buying the laboratory. Phase 6. The ultimate disconnect. Imagine the sheer, unadulterated power of walking into a room wearing a plain, well-fitted t-shirt, knowing that your liquid net worth could buy the entire building. Yet you sit there and allow the guy next to you, suffocating in a financed, tailored suit, to explain how money works. You don't correct him. You don't try to outflex him. You just sip your water and smile. That is the apex of financial autonomy. You are no longer playing their game. You have completely unplugged the controller. The exit from the rat race isn't a parade. There are no fireworks. There is no certificate of achievement handed to you by your boss. It is a quiet, solitary walk out the back door while everyone else is distracted by the noise and the flashing lights in the front room. You have to stop caring about the zip code. You have to stop caring about the heavy metal credit card. You must stop subsidizing the opinions of strangers who wouldn't lend you $10 if you were starving in the street. You take that capital, that violent, powerful energy, and you redirect it into assets that work relentlessly while you sleep. You buy back your Tuesday mornings. You buy the right to say no to a client who disrespects you. You buy the oxygen to breathe in a world that is suffocating under the weight of its own fabricated desires. If you want to stay in the cage, keep scrolling. Go watch another video about how to leverage credit card points for a fleeting weekend in Dubai. But if you are finally ready to break the lock and step out of the illusion, hit the like button, subscribe, and join the ones who are building empires in the dark. If you made it this far, drop a comment saying, "Invisible checkmate." Everyone else will think you're speaking nonsense, but we will know you have found the exit. My name is Daniel Rath, and I'll see you outside the maze.